Yeah. I know you got problems, know you at the bottom, know you took a loss today. Everybody want bottles, living for a throttle, you just want ball today. Tell me joy, where it's hiding, I've been trying to find it before I go all the way. Cause everybody got problems, everybody starving, but don't you go off today.
Yo, this is the All Done Podcast. My name is Tracy, that's my boy Mike. How you feeling today, Mike?
Man, I'm good. I'm in a great place right now. How you doing, my brother?
Glorious. So today on the All Done Podcast, we're going to keep it light. But it might get a little intense anyway because I think we're people that enjoy the culture. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, right? We're gonna do some lists. We're gonna do some hip-hop lists, some artist lists, some R&B lists. Try to see what the vibes are.
Let you get to know us a little bit.
Yeah,
you
just a
feel me?
little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, if you grew up in the era, right, what would you say our prime era was, like early 2000s, where we were really kind of, I would say, coming of age?
I would early 2000s. Yep, early 2000s, like the 03 to like 08 type vibe. That's crazy you say that because you're like, yo, when you see my list, it's gonna be like, that makes sense.
Yeah. So all those, movie buffs, music buffs out there that like, no, that's not the classic. My bad. These are lists that are relevant to our upbringing and kind of things that really influenced us. So
and resonate with us in a different way for whatever reason.
For sure.
Let's jump right into it, bro.
Yeah. So let's start with I was thinking we start with top hip hop albums. Give me your top 3. Or you want to go back and forth?
We're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go back and forth and put a little explanation to it.
All right, bet. So I'm gonna go first?
Yeah, go first.
We're gonna go 3 to 1 or 1 to 3?
It don't matter because I don't even have mine in like an order. Like it's just.
You copped out. Don't cop out.
I ain't gonna cop out. It ain't no 3 to 1, 1 to 3. I mean, let's go. I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna let you throw your first jab, and we'll go from there.
All right, put them in chronological. Don't be all scary.
I gotta put them in chronological because. All right, let's go. I'm ready. Either way, I'm ready.
So we're going hip hop albums that influenced my life. 31 years of living. I gotta start with my third, and obviously these are only lists of 3, so please don't kill us. Like, please, again, these are only lists of 3. A lot more great music, great albums, great artists, but that's the point of a list podcast.
Oh, wait, before you throw, we do have Jay-Z. He gets a list of his own. Yeah. So when you hear this top 3 albums, just know that some other lists are coming, but it's kind of hard, Yeah. But I'm ready. Let's go.
This stuff is not with Hov in it. Hov has his own kind of space, obviously, with the influence that he's had on the culture and both of us. So, number 3 hip hop album. For me, I gotta go with Victory Lap by my guy, the late great Nipsey Hussle. I think it came out like 2 years ago, and I would say my brother was more into like Mailbox Money and Bullets Ain't Got No Names mixtapes. And I heard him, and I used to mess with the sound a little bit, but once Victory Lap came out, and then you just kind of get the brother's story. I mean, the album is even bigger once you kind of get it, and so that's number 3 for me in the hip hop category.
Okay, so that's what you're gonna go with. All right, so I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take mine. I'm gonna go a little further back with my number 1 or number 3, I guess it would be. But I'm gonna go with Get Rich or Die Trying. 50 Cent.
50? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was in like 9th grade when the album dropped, and that's one of those transitions from you pretty much kiddie middle school to now you in high school. I'm trying to find out who I am and how I feel about different things. And Get Rich or Die Trying was one of those albums I was bumping at that time. In a CD player. I used to take Sheen CD player.
That's a good one. I ain't even gonna lie to you. All right, number 2, I got Ross, Teflon Don. Even if
you come in like heavy,
trying to pick the Ross project is hard, but one had to be in there. But like, damn, Teflon Don is just from beginning to end, man. We could just start it, and the message is there. You get tracks like Tears of Joy. It's just so it's real. It's when hip hop first came to me, and it was more than just music. Is when I heard Teflon Don. I was like, oh, he's talking about something else, for real. And so Teflon Don, Ross gotta be my number 2.
Okay, I can vibe with that. Like I said, I can vibe with that for a lot of different reasons. Actually, I really like Ross. What was it? Triller. That was a great Ross
Triller
album to
was
me too.
another one. I was
But let
top,
me
see, top three lists, man. Triller was another one.
yeah, that's another good one. But my number two is gonna be, like I said, I'm taking it back again. I'm going with I know a lot of people canceled him, and I respect it. But I'm going with College Dropout, Kanye West.
You went Kanye.
I
He's
had to go Kanye.
canceled.
He
You went
canceled. I
Kanye.
mean, but once again, we talked about this in that cancel culture episode. That was at a time where, once again, like I said, ninth grade was 50. I want to say Kanye was around 10th or 11th, like still feeling myself, trying to see who I'm gonna be, and it resonates with me who I am as, like, at that time, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to be perceived, and it changed from that. That 50 Cent vibe where I want to be a hood dude, until I see I could be a little preppy with it and change up who I am. So that's why I'm going with the College Dropout.
Yeah, Kanye made us all feel like that. Kanye made us all feel like it was okay. Kanye, I don't care what you think about him, he forced us to embrace our uniqueness. Like, Kanye forced us to be like, it's okay to be weird, bro. Be weird. And that was a dope time period. So number one, I gotta go Sideline Story, J. Cole, because honestly,
yo, that's crazy. Go ahead.
That's not your number one.
It's not. But it was. Actually, I was thinking of J. Cole mixtape.
Okay,
you feel me?
Warm Up or Friday Night Lights?
Friday Night Lights, but I didn't. So we still good. That's crazy how much alike we are, though.
Yo, that Cole Sideline Story project, the content is raw, but for me in my life, I remember at this point, I'm walking a lot to jobs, like a lot. Didn't have no car, and that joint is on repeat because obviously during that time, I didn't have no MP3, I had CD. And that joint was on heavy repeat, walking an hour to and from work. Just still trying to figure it out here. So that is super inspiring. And obviously for the point in my life, it's the soundtrack.
I can vibe with that. That's a great one. So I'm going to go with my number one. This is a little bit later. I was an adult. I already had moved to Mississippi at the time. And a little bit later. Yeah, not much later, because remember, I moved to Mississippi in 2007, 2008, something like that. So I'm going to go with Lupe, the Cool.
Yeah.
I got to go Lupe, the Cool. Because once again, now I'm in my, early, maybe like late teens, early 20s. And once again, still at a point in my life where, who am I going to be? And the Cool, like, kind of changed the way you looked at things. And, it just had a nice feel to it. You feel me?
That was Dumb It Down?
Dumb It Down, yeah.
Yeah.
The Cool was a good one, bro. So that was
been tripping a little bit on social media lately.
And that's crazy, man.
It's love. It's love. As an artist, he's dope.
Yeah. I mean, he just thinks differently, and a lot of people do, but you got to respect that. So like we said, Kanye made it okay to be weird. Lupe explored that weirdness a little bit more. You feel me? So.
Kick push, bro. Come on, man. That's and he had the feature with Hov on there too.
Nah, that was on wasn't that on Food and Liquor? That was on Food and Liquor, yeah. Oh, you talking about Pressure? That was Food and Liquor. Kick Push and Pressure was Food and Liquor. Yep, but those are great songs. That was a great album.
Yeah, Lupe, them first two. I think those were back to backs, right? Lupe had the Food and Liquor and then the Cool.
The Cool was probably like 2 years later, something like that.
Yeah, those are the first two projects, and you're right. Those are big projects for both of us. All right, so that's top 3 hip hop. Now we're going top 3 Hov albums, which is like people in the culture debate Hov albums all the time, and I think our perspective, coming from that early 30s standpoint, is gonna be maybe a little different than some people. But I'll go first at number 3. I got 444 because. I mean, it's a personal album. It was fire. It's just
444 was definitely fire. But I actually knew you was gonna put 444 on your list. Like, I'm not. That wasn't a shocker for me right there. Cause reason being, I was about to put it on my list, and I was like, let's change that.
I had to. The man was going through something for real. And there again. Hip hop to me is all about the message, which is why some of my favorite artists, they do that in their music, and absolutely Hov's done that since the start. So, I gotta go 444. The man was favorite track on the album, probably that Family Feud. That was my own story of OJ. Jesus.
Smile
Okay.
was mine. Smile was mine.
I can get with that. So 444, that's number 3 for me. Hove.
I respect it. I'm split in my number 3 with Hove.
You splitting it?
I'm split between 2 albums, and I think they're 2 underrated albums.
Go ahead. I know what they are. Go ahead.
What are they?
American Gangster, Kingdom Come.
Close. American Gangster and Blueprint 3.
Okay, Blueprint 3. A lot of people didn't like that one for some reason.
A lot of people didn't like that, but think about like the intro. Just think about Thank You, like how he was spitting the second verse. I was gonna kill a couple. Like Blueprint 3 was different, and like I said, that was a coming of age with Hove too. A lot of people don't realize that was a transition with Hove in the Blueprint 3 to me. So
he put some pop. He put some pop joints.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Major. That's Empire State
of Mind. Yeah, exactly. So
man.
So Blueprint 3 / American Gangster, and American Gangster is so underrated. A lot of people look at it as a like a soundtrack album.
Mm.
It is, but it's more of the soundtrack to his life. So rather than the soundtrack to the movie, it just goes well with the movie. But the movie probably inspired him with the story part. Who knows? But so I'm split between Blueprint 3 and American Gangster.
Yeah, I'm just want you to know, for a list of 3, you're not supposed to be doing that, but it's cool. We let it rock. Go ahead. I'm gonna go with number 2 now for Hove.
I mean, I can go. You go. No matter.
I go my number 2 Hove. Gotta go with Blueprint.
Okay, I can see that.
I think right. That's 01-ish. I think that's right when we're like, oh, hip hop is dope, and then that comes out and it's girls, right? Music videos were still popping. That video was fire.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember watching that every day before I went to school. So it was
kind
like
of just walking through, like
man. It was more artistic genius from obviously one of the leaders of the culture. So obviously we're going Blueprint as my number 2.
Okay, I can respect it. My number 2 is gonna be Kingdom Come. You mentioned that.
You put it on that too? You
gotta think Kingdom Come was what, 2006, 2007?
Yeah, we damn near grown at that point.
Yeah, I want to say Kingdom Come was my first CD I actually bought. Like my first, I mean, I used to listen to music, but I got it different ways. But so Kingdom Come was my first CD. I went into Best Buy and bought. I think I bought that CD that day, and I bought like a Jackson 5 top hit CD that day. So Kingdom Come was Kingdom Come definitely.
Yep, I respect
and that was after he said he retired, but even though he was dropping hints in the Black Album, and so Kingdom Come.
No,
once again, another underrated one, by the way.
I get that. No, that is, like I said, that's why I thought Kingdom Come and American Gangster. People like, oh no, Reasonable Doubt or Gift from the Curse. Like, if you were growing up, if you're 30, 31. You went back and listened to those projects, but I don't know if they impacted you as much as when they first came out. That's just my
facts. Yeah, that's facts.
So we're gonna Hove number 1 album, and to me, I mean, this should be for me. Like I said, again, that early 30s. How don't you pick this one? Black Album, the Black Album. It's like
Black Album is so fire, bro.
The replay value on it is just like from start to finish. You don't got to skip a track.
Yeah,
you don't got to skip a track. That joint go hard all the way through. Then you got the outro, which is like classic.
Threat.
You ain't have no seat on
99 Problems. That was love. That was love. I respect it. I definitely like that pick, the Black Album. But I'm gonna go with an obvious number 1, Reasonable Doubt. That was one of those.
That is obvious.
Yeah, that was one of those I went back, I listened to, and then like still now I might be riding my car. Like I need to listen to Reasonable Doubt. It kind of puts you at a place where you kind of need to be. You kind of need to be hungry. You kind of need that vibe or whatever. So yeah, that's it's an obvious number 1, but Reasonable Doubt.
It is obvious. And you wasn't when at 96. You wasn't even.
I never said I listened to it when it first dropped. So I said I listened to it.
We all did. We all went back and tapped in, but
even going back, you wouldn't label that one of your number 1?
Of course, it's definitely a top 5 Hove. It's definitely top 5 Hove if I had to stretch it out. But I'm talking about impact on me. But I think you're right. There was a level of hunger in that project that's the first time I ever heard like some gritty, like, oh, this is rap.
Get it off the mud type rap.
For sure. All right, so next, let's go to R&B. top 3 R&B projects for our lifetimes. I started with 3. This is one you probably don't know. Maybe you do. I do Eric Bellinger, The Rebirth. I think that was like his first project that I ever heard. That's how I was introduced to him. It's like 19, 20 songs long. But again, you can start it from the start to the end, and it has, the album has a certain tone to it. So if you've never heard The Rebirth by Eric Bellinger, you definitely should go check it out.
Throw that on the list somewhere to check out at some point or another. Number 3 for me, I'm gonna go once again. This guy so underrated as a singer, so talented, and people don't realize it. But Jamie Foxx, Unpredictable.
They slacking on him as I wanted to put him on there, but it's 3. That's a good one though.
Yeah, that's my Jamie Foxx, Unpredictable. Remember at the time that came out, Extravaganza. That's when we was out late going to 7-Eleven. That was a different time. So Jamie Foxx, Unpredictable. That
one had a vibe for our lives for sure. I can relate to that one in so many ways. That one had a vibe for sure. All right, number 2, I got the first Day 26 album.
That's crazy. I was thinking Day 26 because Stadium music hit so hard.
That first album went crazy. Yeah, and I mean, maybe it was the nostalgia making the band. I don't know what it was, but honestly, if you listen to that first Day 26 album, it was hard. They were singing, harmonizing, and as a group, we wasn't getting groups at that point anymore. Not for the culture anyway. What were the groups in the early 2000s, mid 2000s? Nobody was doing that. And Diddy came through and made a solid project. So, and obviously, I lived with it for a while. So, as an R&B type of dude, at Day 26, number 2 for me.
That's a good pick. My number 2 is gonna be. I used to listen to this album every day before work at Blockbuster. I used to bump one song in particular, but John Legend once again.
I don't got John on my list, so that's a mistake.
I almost made that mistake, and I was like, wait, what did I used to bump? John Legend. I used to bump the song Stereo.
Yeah,
I used to bump the song Stereo every day, like loud. Had the radio on the ping pong table in the basement. Before I went to work at Blockbuster, like John Legend.
Yeah, that joint went crazy. That joint went crazy. That's number 2. That's a good pick. All right, number 1, I gotta go with my dude Neo, Because of You, man.
That's my number 1.
I know it is.
That's my number 1. No.
I'm trying to tell you, me. Come on. If you don't, this is probably one of the greatest R&B albums of my time as far as singing, and it wasn't too long, and there's no skips on it. It had, if you wanted an upbeat vibe, it definitely had the R&B shorty come back from that early 2000s period. I mean, you couldn't beat it. That was your number 1.
That's my number 1, and it was a great follow-up to the In My Own Words. In My Own Words had the So Sick on there. It was a little different type of vibe, but Because of You, he came with it.
Snap. And then the whole feature took it over the top.
Yeah. So that was my number 1. I figured you was going to Neo number 1, and I was like, I'm gonna try to pick something different, but I couldn't. I think I'll give you this nod right here. I think out of the people we hung out with, you were one of the first just listening to R&B. Throw that R&B on, while we riding. You sure, bro? We grown men in the car. You sure you want to throw some R&B on?
Everything too. I didn't care. Cats used to definitely make fun of me, but we about to play ball. All right, yo, throw that In My Own Words on. Throw that on there.
Throw that on. Yeah, so I'll give you that nod.
Bro, you're a weirdo. Why you listening to R&B while playing tackle football?
You listen to R&B, and I was one of the only one listening to Lil Scrappy back then in New York.
The heavy Southern. East Side Boys. Yin Yang Twins. All right, so top hip-hop artists. Give me a top 3. I'm going to start at the bottom. Since you split one, I'm going to split one. I got to go Ross Jeezy at 3. Because that's just, you talk about get it out the mud rap. Whenever I listen to Ross or Jeezy, I feel like, I need to be doing something more than I'm doing. So Ross Jeezy got to get that nod at number 3 for the hustle, if nothing else. Obviously, music is dope too.
Yeah, so top 3 hip-hop artists. And if you listen to my list, a lot of time my list is not going to go with what previously, but I'm gonna stick to the script with 50. I can't. like he was so big in New York at the time, like even with everything he's doing. So not even just the Get Rich or Die Trying where he was talking about Ja Rule most of the album, but the Massacre came shortly after that,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was, and then like he became like almost like a bully rapper. Then like
Oh,
so
yeah. Nah,
so
50,
definitely 50 is definitely one of those for me.
hands down. Hands down. 50, one of the greats. Number two and number one probably gonna be, if you know me and my love for hip hop and how I like to receive hip hop, I like to be inspired. And I don't like to search for it so much. Like I like my artists to like tell me what the vibes are, if that makes any sense. So number two is
Perfect
Kendrick.
sense.
That To Pimp a Butterfly album was incredible. And a lot of people, I don't know if it got the buzz that maybe it should have got, but I mean the message is crazy and he could rap his ass off. So I got Kendrick at number two for artist hip hop.
I definitely gonna rock with Kendrick. So I don't know. I might lose some points for saying this, but my number two, I gotta go a rap group.
Okay.
I
Who?
gotta go. I gotta go to Locks.
Okay,
That
the locks.
real that like I
That's,
said, you gotta love that grittiness to it.
oh yeah.
That Uber New York with it. Like so, yeah. I gotta go to Locks as my number two. Like
Yeah,
it's
locks is
just
fun.
is when times is tough. When you like you said, used to troop it, used to walk, and you need that. Gotta go with the Locks as number two.
Yeah, they got that. That's, if you from New York, it's not possible for you to like not fuck with the locks. That's a big group for New Yorkers. Number one, anybody that's not Hove, J. Cole. So I'll take his understudy, the dude that he brought into the game. I mean, project after project, fire. The last one, not KOD. Was it KOD? The last Cole project?
Nah, was it KOD?
I
Now
think it
I
was.
gotta research it. Now I
I
gotta
think it
research it.
was.
I
I think
think
the
it's something
last
after
Cobra. In
KOD.
any event, it had that count 'em up, 1985 joint on there when he was giving a TED talk to the young man about his life and where he's gonna end up if he keeps doing some of the things that he's doing. It's just a fire artist. Always has made music for the culture and challenged me as a fan to think about things in a different way. So Cole's number one for me, an artist.
I definitely respect that Cole pick. And that'd be I respect it. But my number one said is one I'll catch flack for because of who he is. But Eminem.
Oh, you went in that one?
How could you not? Like that's almost hard. Like that's
Are you right?
like because he's a known that changed hip hop, and we know who he is. So without having to say it, but he changed hip hop, and he also he put people on. We're not gonna act like he didn't. So I gotta go Eminem at number one.
And he rap his ass off too. The man could.
Oh, the man's ridiculous.
Man's a technician. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly. So when you
I
go to
respect.
lyricism and just not caring about what he say,
No, I respect it. I respect the M selection. I respect the M selection at one because you're right. I think the impact on hip hop alone is like, yo, this dude is doing stuff that I think only he could probably do at the time. So we're gonna change it up just a little bit. Go from music. It's still in the realm of entertainment. We're gonna pop over to movies. So give me your top three movies of all time. You start at three.
I'm gonna start at three. Life.
Marlon Lawrence, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, and now here's why. Here's what's crazy about that.
I got no comedy in mind, so that's interesting.
I got almost nothing but comedy in mind.
Okay, so there you go.
And honestly, I had to take the 40-year-old virgin off the list. Like, I had to, but that was a movie that But yeah, not Life. Life is just a classic, hilarious. I gotta go with Life. Yeah. So that's mine.
Repeat, hilarious film. I didn't. You know why? A quick thing about Life. You know why it kind of threw me off a little bit, and I think this is a little bit of like all those types of movies. Is like that was like when I was first starting to get into my mode. Like, wait, I'm black, and something about blackness in jail kind of threw me. It was hilarious, and I rewatched it a number of times. But there was a little thing about that I was like, wait a minute, black people in jail, that's throwing me off a little bit.
And I can feel that, but it still,
Classic film.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. If nothing else.
So movies, I split third again because come on,
So wait. Let me get this straight. You said something to me about splitting third on my first election, but now you did two in a row, two categories in a row.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about my third favorite movies of all time, and I gotta go with Ali and Malcolm X. So Will Smith and Denzel, two of my heroes. So it's like them films are powerful beyond entertainment. It's like you don't understand those characters, and to see those two actors bring it to life was, I mean, you couldn't get better than that. So Ali and Malcolm in my third.
Okay, I respect those. So when I'm on number two,
movies, all time.
Movies. This one snuck in recently just because it is what it was. Django.
Okay.
Django, like you just said, you at some point
about that. I got you. My number two is gonna be crazy, but why you pick Django?
Well, like you said, at some point we came into the point where it was like, yo, black people in jail or black people as slaves. But then he came back and flipped it like, I'm doing this. So, So
a lot of people gave Quentin flack for that movie and all the use of the N-word, but you know what? I like that story better than a lot of other slave stories I've seen over the years.
Exactly.
That story is much, much more entertaining to me, and I'll be honest, it doesn't piss me off after I'm done with it. What movie did I just watch? Like Detroit was a movie. Oh man, it pissed me off so much. But anyway, number two, right? So you mentioned Jamie Foxx, and like I think Jamie Foxx to us, again, growing up in a category like he had his show was really popping when we were coming up. Like Jamie Foxx's talent is crazy. And my number two, that's why I said it's crazy, is my number two is Any Given Sunday.
Great movie.
Come on, man. God. Willie motherfucking Beeman. You can't.
Willie Beeman.
Come on, B. You got Bill Bellamy, Al Pacino, LL in there. You got Lawrence Taylor, real football players. It's a great movie about everything that football is not about. Like I played football, coached football. Like that's not football. But it was bad entertainment because I think you had all of that talent on one screen at a time. So Any Given Sunday is definitely my number two.
Fun fact, I played football up until recently, like this past season was my last season. And Any Given Sunday is one of the movies I watched throughout the day on game day. I had like 3 or 4 movies I watched. Varsity Blue, Any Given Sunday, Troy, and like 300 were the movies I watched before games. And Any Given Sunday had to be one of those. That was that was a solid number 2 pick. That was your number 2.
That's number 2. Yeah, it was my number 2. Your number 1.
My number 1. I mean, anybody that knows me knows what my favorite movie of all time is, and I'm not going to change it. The Sandlot. Anybody that knows me know I love The Sandlot. Like, can quote the movie word for word. Like, I bought the DVD. I don't think I ever opened it, and I still can quote the movie word for word.
Now, that's a classic. That's a classic for people coming out. You're killing me, Smalls. That's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, you wasn't really into baseball, so.
I wasn't, but that movie is still a big deal. It's still a big deal. Like that man telling me he played ball like a girl. Like it's coming up stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whether you like baseball or not. And I wasn't into baseball, like you said. But that movie's a classic. My number 1.
Apples in the toilet and you like it. I'm listening.
My number 1, I gotta go with Training Day. Probably one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, you went serious with all your not a single comedy?
Not a single, I don't know. And I love comedy. Like, that's my genre. But come on, man. When we talking about, impactful on my life, when I watch those films, when I watch Training Day, I'm like, yo, my man is cold-blooded with the acting. Like, Denzel at that point solidified, y'all really can't fuck with me on the screen.
Yeah, and he's so versatile with, from, a Training Day to a Great Debaters to, the man, to a Coach Boone and Remember the Titans, which is another classic. So
the man's a beast.
I respect it. Yeah, I respect it. Wait, so before we go to our next category, this question is asked a lot. I did give my number 1.
Yeah, my number 1 is
Sandlot. Here's a question that I've seen posted a lot, and I know we're switching off a little bit, but then, in your opinion, Denzel or Will Smith?
Denzel.
Easily Denzel?
That wasn't even hard. Denzel.
Really?
Yo, bro. Come on, he did the Hurricane. The skeleton? Not the Bone. Is it the Bone Collector? That was him too.
Bone Collector, yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Bone Collector. Like it's too much. And then like we don't even like. For people who don't know Denzel, like, or you know the new Denzel, you gotta go back and like watch
old Denzel,
like,
skinny Denzel,
like 80s, like when he was.
Denzel been around for a while.
What is it, The Mighty Quinn and
stuff
it's
like
just
that.
a lot. Denzel's like
Devil
Lady
in the Blue Dress or something like that.
Yeah, he got classics, man. He did the joint with Eva Mendes, Out of Time.
Out of Time.
I mean, it just my point about Denzel is whenever I see Denzel, I'm never disappointed. Like I've never seen a bad Denzel.
Equalizer.
Yeah, one or two. I've never seen a bad Denzel movie, and I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you could think of one, or maybe I'll think of one later myself. But I can't recall being like, oh man, that was trash.
That's. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they both great in their own right. But Will Smith did a movie by himself.
Yeah, he did Jason.
Listen, he did a movie without anyone else in the movie for most of it. You feel me?
Gemini Man?
Not Gemini Man. I Am Legend.
Okay, yeah, I Am Legend. That was brilliant. I liked I Am Legend.
Yeah, so
I Am Legend was dope, but he still got Legend of Bag of Vance, and that was a little weird. I wasn't.
I've never watched that movie in its entirety. But he gave you Bad Boys.
He did give me Bad. He gave me Hitch. I mean, he's
like Hitch resonated with us at a time in our life. We were just like, yo. So
I would say
it's a great.
To me, it's not hard though. I would say you're right. They both are great in their own right, but to me, that's Denzel.
No, I respect. I definitely respect it. So
you going with Will?
I don't know.
I
don't know. I think I'm going Denzel. I definitely got to go Denzel. I'm gonna tell you why. Like the huge difference for me is Remember the Titans.
Yeah, that's a big film.
Remember the Titans. So
that's a big film.
And it's crazy because your number 3 was Will Smith and Denzel Washington.
Yeah, man, Malcolm and Ali, and those are two of my. I mean, they played two of my, and that's not like, yo, Will is rare that it's like, yo, iRobot. People gave that a lot of flack, but it was fire.
It was a good movie.
For the time, I thought iRobot was a fantastic film, and I mean, the countless other ones too. Pursuit of Happiness. Come on, bro.
7 Pounds. It was one of those that was a little weird, but it was deep.
Yeah, the man, he's a brilliant actor. So let's not take nothing away from Will Smith. I'm just saying for me. Right, we could all have different opinions here.
Facts. So, what's the last category?
We got hood movies. Gotta do it for the hood. We got hood movies. And I mean, how do we define hood movies? I don't gotta define that because if you of the culture, I think you know what I'm.
That was tough for me because with Life, when I picked Life, I'm like, do I consider that a hood movie? Do I not?
So, I don't know. It might have been a little too mainstream to be hood.
Yeah, it was definitely a little too mainstream to be hood.
That was a big one. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go number 3.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got Friday, number 3. Friday
was definitely a classic.
Friday is yeah.
Friday was a classic.
Again, for the culture, it puts you in the perspective of like a black family just growing up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff in that movie, like, we could relate to in the community. Every time I come in here, you in here. Like I can hear Harvey talking that shit to Terrell in the kitchen. Like I can hear him saying that type of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Eating up all the pig feet, all the hogs. So yeah, Friday's my number 3 for sure.
Okay. My number 3. I'm probably gonna go with Players Club. I gotta go with Players Club as my number 3.
Oh, I forgot about Players Club, but Cube shaped the culture, so yeah, I respect it.
Yeah, I gotta go with Players Club as my number 3. It's just one of those movies, you got Lisa Ray, Bernie Mac. You feel me?
Legend. So, shout out to Jamie Foxx again.
He was in that movie.
They don't get that man enough credit, man. He's been all over the culture. They don't get that man enough credit. Jamie Foxx, definitely. My number 2, I'm gonna see my top 2. I'm gonna keep it serious, but if you're of the culture, there are funny parts. Like I feel like people, if you're not of the culture, you probably would think about these movies and certain stuff wouldn't be funny to you. But Paid in Full is my number 2. Like I gave that man the cake. I gave him it all in his face, B. Like that might not be funny to other people, but like
that's hilarious because people like that.
I definitely know people like Cam. I definitely know people like Rico. Yes, we all.
You know people like that.
So Pay was my number 2.
Okay, cool. My number 2, I'm gonna go another comedy. How High.
Okay, I can give that
How
one.
High.
That's
That was another one. I was debating, like, is that real mainstream? I think it's a little bit too raunchy to be like, yo, that's a mainstream movie. You got Redman and Method Man in there, so if you got to edit out most of the movie to play it on TBS or something like that, then you got to go.
I would say How High is definitely a hood classic. Not of that old brand, but of like the evolution of what the hood classics were.
Yeah, absolutely.
So number 1,
mm-hmm.
Gotta go, my boy Nino, bro. New Jack City, probably one of my favorite hood classics.
Because really, you used to to say, cancel that bitch.
That's a very powerful. I'll get another one later. That's a very powerful line in the film, and maybe that's a podcast I did for a later point. But really, I like New Jack because I used to have to get my ass whooped to watch it. Like that movie came out, I wasn't old enough to watch that. And there was so many times my mom chased me away from the door, like, "I'm gonna beat your little ass. You ain't got no business watching this." And you know what? It was worth it. Shout out to Wesley. Killed that one, bro.
Absolutely. So I didn't say much when you named the movie because it was my number 1. But Paid in Full. Paid in Full is my number 1.
I respect
like
that.
That whole scene that yo, she ain't put no soy sauce in the bag. The Mitch fucking soy sauce. I'm trying to tell a story, B. I told what he say, what he tell him? Yeah, so I seen everybody got him gifts and stuff. So I took the cake and I smashed it in his face. Like, come on, we know those Ricos, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my man.
You ain't eating, you feel me? We know those people. So that's my number 1 hood movie. Gotta go with Paid in Full. So
gotta be on my list. I think that's the only time we overlap, so that's interesting.
Now we overlapped on our number 1 R&B album.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah, because of you.
Yeah.
That was classic.
Yeah, like I said, as I was making my list, I'm like, yo, it'd be boring if we agree with all movies, TV shows, and artists. So, you know.
All right, throw TV shows in there. Give me a top 3 TV shows since we go off the top. TV shows all time.
Off the top. Of all time?
Of all time. Greatest TV shows you ever seen.
So I'm gonna go with 3 first. Number 3 for me, a lot of people didn't I don't know how much people was on that wagon, but My Wife and Kids.
Okay.
That's the Wayans. You can't go wrong with the Wayans. And I think Cat Williams made a few appearances. Different people made a few. Babyface made an appearance here and there. So the Wayne. I mean My Wife and Kids. That was a great. I hate the way it ended. But it was a great show.
I don't really remember the way it ended, but I agree though.
The very last episode, Jay told him was like it was like a season finale. He was like he was supposed to be getting snipped or something like that. And he kept putting it off. So she was like, whatever, I do it. She came back. She's like, well, I can't. He's like, why? She was like, because I'm pregnant. That was the very last episode.
Damn, it got deep like that. They was supposed to have another kid. They already had 3.
Yeah, they had 3. They had 3 in the switch in the Claires. We went from dark skin Claire, light skin Claire. But
movie. Now this is definitely hard off the top of my head, but I gotta give a nod to something I just finished kind of getting into, like, and that's not over, but the original Power.
Oh yeah,
the original Power is deep. Like Ghost, the original one, and I would say that it stops for me when he dies. Like then the original Power is over. Once Ghost is shot or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get into the book of the book of Power, that other stuff yet, and eat myself.
Yeah, the next one is I think it's only like 8 episodes. It's decent, but that original Power, the way they put that together, it was brilliantly done. So I would say that's my number 3.
You resonate with being where we from. Even the intro music, So
yeah, it does, and 50 does that well. 50 does that well, and I think he's tapped into the culture and got his hand on the pulse, but. Power's my 3rd. What's your number 2?
Number 2, Martin.
Okay, that's a good one. I'll take that out of mine because you put it, but that's a damn.
Like something I didn't learn. I didn't realize until later. As I grew, like Martin wore a lot of HBCU hoodies.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, throughout they was killing the Jays. Martin was killing the Jays too then too. Yeah, like everybody know about Fresh Prince was doing it, but Martin was killing them with the HBCU hoodie, so or sweaters or t-shirts or whatever it may be. So yeah, I'm gonna go Martin with a solid number 2.
I'll go with my number 2. I'll go to Jamie Foxx show. Again, underrated. I mean, the brother could sing, he was acting, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, but that might have been one of my first. I won't even try to do that to that sister in Butcher like that. She was like one of my first little crushes or whatever. Like, yeah, Haitian sister. Yeah. So I would say Jamie Foxx show is my number 2. What's your number 1?
Oh man, I'm thinking of 2, but I gotta pick one. I'm gonna go with Family Matters.
Okay.
Family Matters. Cool. Because I resonated with Steve. That's the crazy part. You remember, I was nerdy back in the day. Like, I used to, fall in love with the best looking shorties in the class, and so I felt where Steve was coming from. So, Family Matters.
I'll go with Family Matters. Be a solid number 1. That's a solid number 1. Now I'm gonna throw you off here. Now, ready for the curveball? I'm gonna throw you off. Number 1 show. Now remember, this is off the top, so maybe this is not number 1, but I feel like it needs to be mentioned because I've watched it and it was like instrumental to me, like growing up, like not as an adult, but like my teenage years. This joint was like big. Boy Meets World, like that was, and you want to talk about a crush, like Topanga.
I already knew you was going with that, and that's just because she had the game.
Stop playing. So. That was like,
but there are so many more shows that I used to love, like Fresh Prince.
Yeah,
that's a easy. See, that was too easy. That's why I didn't go Fresh
Prince.
Too easy.
That's why I'm saying Wayans Brothers.
Wayans Brothers was another great one. George Lopez. George Lopez was a great show.
I really like George Lopez.
Love that show.
It won't be in my top. It might be a top 10 if I had to sit down and compile a list. George Lopez might be in there in 9 or 8, but I don't think I mess with Boy Meets World as more of an impact than
Boy Meets World was They redid it. They rebooted it. What was it? Girl Meets World or something like that.
Honestly, it wouldn't
like
even.
Corey and Topanga was like married or something like that.
Wouldn't even do that to myself. Bro.
Sean was really that guy in that show, and we used to call my nephew. We used to call my nephew Ben Savage. So you can't really go wrong with that show.
We definitely did used to call a young African-American kid Ben Savage. We definitely did.
We called him a lot of things we shouldn't have. I need to call him and apologize about all those things we've done.
Don't say we, brother. Take responsibility for what you've done.
Patches O'Houlihan. Another great movie, Dodgeball. Oh, my God. Like this, it's hard to do 3. Like
it is.
For your own sake, sit down and write down 3 of like every category and see how that goes. Like it's tough.
Word. Challenge yourself to rate the things that you like. So we wanted to keep it light on tonight's episode of the All Done Podcast.
Yeah,
obviously the world can be. The world can be kind of heavy. So sometimes we just want to make lists and chop it up.
Yeah.
With my bro, and as always, it's great to do that. Anything else you got before we get up out of here?
No, man. Shout out to my ladies football team, the Mississippi Lady Panthers. We became the first women's football team to have a jersey hung in the Buffalo Wild Wings franchise. Did that last night, so shout out to them. Love coaching them.
Congrats. That's fire. That's fire. Yeah, man. I know we just did a little podcast about lists and chopped it up about the goods and the bads and why we like certain things, but stay safe out here.
Of course.
Yeah. Definitely still COVID, and I know we're just trying to make it through the winter. Things seem to be spiking again, so just want to let everybody know, man, stay safe, and we catch you next week. And on that note, this episode of the podcast is all done.
Don't you go off now. That's right. Don't go off. Yeah. Nah, don't you go off now. Look, hey, I woke up this morning living my best life. And if it isn't, at least I gave it my best try. I'm just enjoying the moments cause ain't no next time. Trying to slide with my people on the west side. Yeah, moving different than all the rest cause I'm about doing it different. New vision.